And welcome to PDQ Live. I don't know about you guys, but I could just watch the intro over and over again.
It just makes me so sad that Severance is over. And I don't know how long I have to wait for another season.
That intro is fantastic.
It is, right? They did such a great job. Okay, welcome. Today we have special guest, Brock. Hi, Brock.
Hi.
And Austin.
Hello.
Austin is Josh's favorite work child, right?
I don't know. He never tells me that like a normal father would. So
Austin is actually the network expert too. So you're here to share your knowledge with us.
That's right.
About networking today.
I'm going to get it all over the place.
Get it. Before that though, and I mean Brock mostly.
What?
Well, both of us.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about, we're going to call them, what do we call them? Rings of Fire.
No, Rings of Power.
No, what do I call them?
Oh, no, Rings
of Fire in Connect. So we're going to try to emulate deployment rings in Connect, essentially. Hopefully. That's our plan.
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
Yeah.
Then we're going to do a new show that Jake is going to tell us all about. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Stories of Discord, I think is
Reddit.
what it's called. I mean, Reddit. Oh, my God. I've already messed up. Let's start over. Can we start over?
Reroll.
Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling.
Okay, keep it rolling. And then it's going to be all Austin the whole rest of the show.
All Austin, all the time.
All Austin, all the time. Networking. He's going to answer your questions. Maybe we have time for some live questions, and then we're going to rank networking equipment.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be sweet.
It's going to be sweet. Okay, let's start with our Rings of Power.
Yeah.
Shark bait. Ooh, ha, ha. You knew I was going to do it.
I knew.
Okay.
I knew. Big fan of Nemo over here.
Yeah, I am. Okay, we're going to jump into Connect. So here's our theory. We were trying to do our best to mimic WSUS.
Yeah.
WSUS.
Right, like deployment rings, right? They're important. And we've talked a little bit about them before. We actually kind of we're playing around with them in Connect and showing hey, here's maybe how we would set it up. And again, there's a lot of options here. So not necessarily this is the standard, you have to do it this way. But these are just some options that we came up with. If you're one of those companies that takes your deployment seriously, which you should be, and you want to make sure that you're properly testing stuff before you're deploying it out to your production environment and stuff like that.
Yeah. So let's maybe start with mine, because my naming convention's better, right? Oh yeah!
Shots fired.
Okay, so I called mine. Oh dang! I gotta make these smaller because now I'm already lost. I really need to clean up my Connect instance, don't I? All right, so I called mine Rings of Fire. Can you hit F11 for him? And so the first thing I did is I made these groups, and I just made mine static. Now, we just want to say to everyone, we're a little bit constrained in our environment because we don't have Entra set up. So we're going to use our imagination a little bit here and pretend like they're a little bit more advanced than they are. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, you will probably have other options out there. For instance, your AD groups, your Entra groups and stuff like that.
So we're going to ask you to use your imagination on how we've set these up, okay? But you're going to get the idea. So the first one, my first group is who cares, right? So this group would just be, doesn't really matter, but this would be your internal IT. This is going to be my first ring. My internal IT, I don't really care if I break stuff here. I'm going to try out whatever I am deploying on this group. This is ring number one. My next group, I called this group Complainy. Containy. I'm going to send this to the users that I know if something breaks, they're going to tell me, right? And I'm going to hear about it. So this is a good group for my second tier. My next one is fired for sure. More production.
This is don't mess with these.
Right, don't mess with these. Okay,
don't accidentally break them.
First, I have my group. Now I have my rings, my groups that I'm going to attach them to. Okay, so I called this one, who cares if it breaks? So now I'm going to start building it out. Okay, so let's just take a look at the filter really quick. So this is where I made my group. So this is I made it, the filter is device, hostname contains pod. That ties back to the group, right? So I'm just going to use a browser here because they update every 17 seconds. Now you can do this however you want. I could actually include every single browser and just keep making this bigger and bigger and bigger. If I wanted to include every single browser, right, I could. You could also include Windows updates, and you could potentially make as many of these as you want. But the idea here is to take this group right here and tie it to an automation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this automation, because I don't really care if I break it, because I'm just sending it to like Austin. He's our internal IT. I could set this automation trigger to be automatic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care if I break this. It's not that big of a deal, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but now let's go to our second group. I mean, we love Austin, but it's okay. This is my complaining users, right? Complaining users, he'll speak up. So now this filter, let's say I still am doing my browser. So this automation, Brock, what do you think I should set this to?
Probably pretty consistent, but not maybe not automatic. So maybe like every couple of days it's looking for an update, things like that.
Yeah, maybe I'm going to watch that first group and set my automation a couple days after that. Yeah. Now that I've seen, okay, nothing really went wrong, let's go a couple days after that. Or if it's Patch Tuesday, okay, let's watch the Patch Tuesday. What happened here? I'm going to stagger that out.
And not just because sure, updates can break things, which I don't know. They've been pretty good recently. Yeah. Somebody knock on some wood for me, but they can break things, so that is a concern. But another concern is that they introduce like 0-day vulnerabilities, right?
Yeah.
They come out with an update, and then you read on the news like a day or two later, oh, hey, what do you know? We're rolling this back because it introduced a vulnerability, and you just deployed it to your entire production environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't want to fall into that trap either. You kind of keep an eye on like, your Sysadmin Reddit, your news articles and things like that. But as long as you're not just deploying like as soon as something's released, you're usually okay.
Yeah. And then I actually made 4 groups here. This is almost production. We don't want to break stuff here. And then this is how you get unemployed. So this would be my business critical ones.
Yeah.
So do you want to show yours now?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brock did his a little bit differently because there's so many ways that you could do this.
So mine is put a ring on it for all my Beyonce fans out there, which I'm generally not one, but I was looking for something catchy to put in here. My groups are Hold My Beer. That's going to be your internal people, like your solutions people, your IT people, things that like, hey, we can deploy this out. They're grown-ups. They can handle, if something breaks. I'm just going to send it. This is my pilot group. This is who is... this, you want a representation of a good amount of like your devices in your environment. You want, maybe like something from accounting, maybe something from marketing, maybe something from HR, people who use a vast array of your applications that you support. But you also want them to be vocal. Something is like, hey, if they run into an issue, they will let me know.
Yeah.
You got your production. These are my sheeple. And if I look into this one, this is actually, so this device, so it's looking for all the devices. So production, I just put a star there, but I'm using the NOR, and then I'm doing the group. I'm saying don't include, don't hurt me. So we have all of our devices. We have 28 devices in here. Sheeple only has 24 because it's excluding the ones that are my critical devices.
Yeah, the ones that
These
really
are the devices where it's like, hey, you want them segmented. You don't want them updating. You maybe want to update them like manually, hold their hand through the process because there's a chance they could break. Maybe your business relies on them for whatever reason. So that's how I've got those set up. And then your automations are going to be tied to those things. And I put these ones up here just so I could have them up top and didn't have to go find them. But you can kind of see they follow the same thing. The Hold My Beer group, this is like you were saying, it's going to be an automatic trigger. As soon as something either joins this group or as soon as the package is updated, these people are going to get it right away.
Yeah.
And then after that, you have the, hey, I'm just going to send it people. These are the ones that like, hey, they're getting it multiple times a week. So it's going to get out there real quick, but maybe not like the second it's available. And then you go on from there. You got your sheeple, your production. Hey, this is only happening once every 2 weeks just to make sure there's no issues. If there are issues, you can iron them out. Or you can, if you wanted to come in here and say, hey, we found an issue with it. I've already got it disabled, but you could come and say, hey, I don't want this update going out. I could just easily disable it right there.
You're bold at 4 p.m. I'm not doing 4 p.m. I'm still in the building then. I'm waiting until I'm out of building, man. Are you crazy?
There you go.
Okay, sweet. Love it. Can you go back to my screen, though?
Sure.
So I know what.
Back to the browser?
No, yeah, the rundown. Oh. Thank you, thank you. Okay. Jake, I am so ready.
Hi, everybody. We're going to be doing a sample of a new show that we have coming to PDQ very soon, and that show is called Sysadmin Reddit Stories. The first episode has been filmed. It's been edited, but it has not been released. It will be soon, but until then, we're going to do a little sample of that show's format on this show. So today I'm going to present a story to these three. That story comes from the Sysadmin subreddit, and this story is from a man or woman named Hefty Amoeba 5707. The story's title is, "What is the most black magic you've seen someone do in your job?" Recently, we hired a VMware guy, former Dell employee, who is Russian. 4:40 p.m., one of our admins was cleaning up the data store in our vSAN, and by accident, deleted several VMDKs, causing production to halt. Talking DBs, web and file servers dating back to the company's origin.
Oof.
Okay, so let's just restore from VM. We have midnight's copies. We will lose today's data, and restore will probably last 24 hours. So yeah, 2 or more days of business lost. This guy we hired from Russia, goes in, takes a look, and with his thick Euro accent goes, pokes around at the data store GUI a bit. This, oh, no problem. I fixed this in 4 hours. What? Enables SSH, asks for the root, consoles in, starts to do what looks like piecing files together. I'm not sure. And black magic, the VMDKs? I don't know. He does both in this story. But in less than an hour, they're rebuilt. VMs are running as nothing happened. He goes, I stitch VMs like Humpty Dumpty, make VMs whole again. I still don't understand what black magic that he did on that day. Do you guys have any idea what he could have done? Was this some Russian techniques or methodologies that are unknown to us here in the U.S.?
We actually have our own VMware guy, Brooke. He has a normal accent, though, and he never talks about Humpty Dumpty, but I'm sure he would understand. Josh would probably understand, too, what's going on there. But
I'm guessing they weren't actually deleted. That
yeah,
he was able to find them.
My guess is the VMDK exists on the ESXi host that it was last on, or the data store still as either old, like a historical version or something. But it's more, to me, what inspires me is the loss of faith and then the sudden hero. This is the typical hero arc.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I mean? We don't know really what he did, but sometimes you just bring in a European.
Well, Greg just put the answer right there.
Yeah. Oh, you can. Okay.
There's always that one person who knows that one thing, that cursed knowledge, and they are just constantly, they're hitting you with the silent from the back of the room. They finally stand up and say, I got this. And then they just do it. And everyone,
press
everyone is
Control-Z.
amazed.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because I've seen those types of people. They show up, you're like, oh, I have this issue. I have no idea what's even going on. I've never seen this before. But like with IT, you're going to run into someone, like you said, that has experienced that issue before, that has spent days or weeks like diving into the depth of IT knowledge to try to like figure it out, right? And then they just pull that knowledge out and it's readily available, and you're like, oh my gosh.
I really like that we're using the word knowledge in place of trauma.
That's how you get the knowledge, is trauma.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Greg had that knowledge from a traumatic experience.
Yeah. Like even in a general IT team, each person has probably unique histories that they can lean on to solve problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and documentation is great and everything.
Oh,
but man, it's hard to get everything right, because sometimes it's just like something happens, spur of the moment, you dive in, you figure it out, and maybe it doesn't get documented. And it's just one of those things that...
That's kind of my biggest problem with the silo problem solvers is they say, I got this. And then they're like, it's done. And I say, okay, what did you do? And then they're gone. Just as fast as they came, they went. The lone wanderer of IT.
Right. Well, there's a follow-up. The top comment is a little bit of a follow-up story. They said, this is from Technos, on the same thread. Another department bought a new contact management system and, long after paying for and installing it, finally got around to asking us to look into populating it from another database. It gets given to a guy who finds an import-export function that spits out a binary blob. So he first searches the internet, finding only people whining about the lack of CSV import. Next, he calls the company. They don't have, or rather they won't share, any info on the file structure, but they'd be more than happy to put us in touch with one of their integration consultants. F that noise. He inputs 4 real customers manually and exports them, then prints the files onto green bar paper in a number of different formats and retreats to a conference room and tapes them on a wall. An hour of sitting motionless and staring later, he pops back out, and in about 5 minutes, he had a shell script that would take a CSV and spit out their special secret sauce. He was still pissed, though, so he took the extra step of publishing the script everywhere he'd found someone talking about the product.
Wow.
There we go.
And it says, spite, the true motor for IT's advance.
Oh, yes. Spite.
So I don't know how much that relates to the original story. That's one thing about me hosting this show is I'm just kind of picking stories that have high engagement and putting them out to talk about. Yeah. I don't understand most of it myself.
No, and that guy's the true IT hero, the one that goes out and just puts it everywhere.
Hey,
this is just knowledge for the people. I went through the trauma, like you said. I went through the trauma, experienced this, and hey, let me help the rest of you out.
And just the person that has the initiative just go out and just make a statement.
Spite and technology are such a powerful duo.
And energy drinks.
It does a powerful trio.
Monster fueled spite.
Monster fueled spite. I have done so much around here just based off spite. I refuse to let it go. I understand that level of I'll be right back.
I like this. Okay, Jake, when is this coming out?
Yeah, so our first episode is going to be coming out on YouTube within the next couple of weeks, so keep an eye out for that. We'll have multiple stories in that episode. Brock and Tara are our first guests. We'll have Austin on at some point as well.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be Sysadmin Reddit stories.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Are you ready to answer questions, Austin?
Oh, I'm so ready. Give me what you got. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's see it.
All right, and these were all from Discord. Is that right?
Yes, and the first question here. I've seen some debate on this in different circles, but what's your opinion on VTP? Use, not use. I've avoided its use in industrial applications in the past, but seen it used elsewhere with good effect.
You down with VTP?
Well, first, what is VTP, Austin?
Yeah, VTP is a protocol. So the concept of VLANs, right? You configure it on a switch. Let's say you have 15 switches that you control, right? You ideally, the point of this protocol is to say, if I configure it here, it should go everywhere else. So I don't have to go to 15 other machines to configure it, right? That's like the root of this protocol. The other issue with things like this is you can also take away really fast and really easily. VTP is very, the big scare is that you can easily screw yourself in many situations by accidentally propagating information you didn't mean to.
Kind of like using the mirror parameter with Robocopy, where it's you're mirroring your data back and forth. You're like, hey, this is great. And then you delete it on the source, and all of a sudden your backup, it's deleted there as well.
Yeah, the VTP is also Cisco proprietary, which is frustrating. I think my opinion, if you're asking me my opinion, is there's better ways to easily configure information quickly using tooling like Ansible and GitOps to maintain those. I would say no to VTP. But I understand the use case, and I've seen it used successfully perfectly fine.
So if you're using it, be very careful.
Yeah, you have to be careful. Just like any other easily configurable operation, I guess, to do these sort of wide sweep changes. Yeah, that same level of care is required.
Okay. All right, next question. Can you please explain /CIDR notation like I'm 5 to help me understand what it means without frantically Googling a translator tool so I don't feel stupid when talking to networking gurus?
Yeah, so you know how the CIDR notation goes from 0 to 32? That's because there are 32 bits in a subnet mask. So what it is telling you is how many bits are active in the subnet mask, thus dictating how many IPs you have available.
Oh, so you say CIDR. That's CIDR.
Yeah, so we've moved away from classful networking into classless, I believe they call it now. But CIDR notation is just if you are given an IP address, 1.1.1.1/32, you can imagine how many IPs that they're actually speaking, right? Mm-hmm. So have you ever configured a Windows device with a static IP and you have to type 255.255.255.0? Mm-hmm. That isn't necessarily CIDR notation, but you are defining the subnet mask. In CIDR notation, that is considered a /24 because 24 bits are being activated when you're doing that, if that makes sense.
Why don't they just say how many there are? It's so confusing. Honestly.
How many what? IPs?
Yeah.
Because
it's so much easier.
There's a group of in all sorts of fields that if I tell you confusing things, you could never learn this. Therefore, I keep my highly regarded position.
I think it's purposely confusing, honest to God. I'm just like, one has more addresses. That's how I keep it straight in my mind.
CIDR notation is very useful.
Is it?
I think so. Like, if you understand the subnet all IP addressing follows patterns, right? So like with a /24, you have how many usable IPs, right?
I don't know. One of these years is going to crystallize in my brain. I'm still waiting for that moment. Go ahead. Sorry.
Usable, you have 253 because you've got the broadcast and then you've got the host. But then using that information, if I say, oh, what about a /25? Then you have 126. What about a /26? Well, you have 62. Because it cuts it in half as you keep going up, as the bits are filled in the subnet mask, you can dictate how many hosts you have easily just understanding the CIDR notation. And I don't have anywhere to draw, but there's an easy way to create a circle, put /24 at the top, and then you can show it. Like if you cut that circle in half, /25 is this. 26.
Ooh, this sounds like a new video, short or something.
Yeah, this would be super fast.
Yeah, learn CIDR.
This is one of the things that I think you either get or you're just like, keep talking for 25
or you just
hours.
Google the
like,
CIDR notation calculator or translator like I do.
Yeah. I mean, the calculators are useful. There's nothing wrong with using that too. Without frantically Googling a translator tool, there's nothing wrong with that. Memorizing this is more of like a bar trick.
Personal challenge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's repetition that causes the knowledge. That's all it is. Nobody should feel bad about not knowing this.
Okay, next question. Wireshark or what?
Or what? No, don't use it. No, I'm just kidding. Wireshark is obviously very useful. I think the idea is to just bring up Wireshark. If you're ever curious about anything networking, if you just pull up Wireshark and just pick one packet, that tool will tell you so much information. Maybe too much, but
I was about to say maybe too much because I think I've pulled it up, and I'm like, what am I looking at again?
Yeah, I mean, if we all if you know the OSI model, it breaks it down in that aspect, and then you get bit level information, which may be the too much there, but you can understand the layer of that packet, which is very useful to people who internalize the OSI model.
Mm-hmm. Well answered.
Speed round. Okay, we got to keep going.
Okay, we just have a couple more speed answers here. So, for Cisco firewalls, ASDM or console, choose carefully.
My question to you is, you use Cisco firewalls?
Oh!
Gotcha.
That'll lead right into our shed a tear pretty soon.
All right.
All right, next one. Okay, this will be our last question before we go to our next segment. So what kinds of changes do you think AI is going to bring to the table for network engineers, specifically around how networks are designed and maintained? Might we see self-healing networks?
Yeah, I think your LLM is definitely going to go fix that cable that was ran over by a backhoe for sure. I mean, the networks are going to be like AI is already in our lives, so predominantly it's more like they're going to be so bland. Have you ever had a poem written by ChatGPT? Now imagine it writing a network. There's an art form to this.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah,
there's a human aspect.
There is art to this.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it will.
You ready to rank some network stuff?
Yeah, let's go ahead and rank some stuff.
Okay.
Let's shed a tear.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, you going to share this? Are we going to have everybody vote? Jake?
Yes, that's right.
Yes, that's right.
I'm going to put the link into the chat just right now.
Okay.
Vote yourselves. Have a little fun.
Mm-hmm. All right, Austin, you ready?
Yeah, so ranking things from S to D because we didn't put F. We don't believe in Fs like a
I think the standard tier list doesn't have an F. It just D is the lowest.
I definitely had Fs in school, so.
Well,
yeah, me too.
That's a whole nother thing there, Brock.
Austin, let's start.
All right, Cisco as a product, as a thing.
As a lifestyle, because they're snooty.
No, not a lifestyle.
Snooty.
Cisco as a product, hot take, B
tell me.
tier.
What?
B tier.
B? What?
I think.
Okay, tell me.
I think Cisco is great. Obviously, they've led the charge in many aspects, but in the last few years, they've made decisions in terms of their pricing and subscription models as moving away from perpetual licensing, as everything is. But because they were the first to do it, I'm the most annoyed with them. So B tier for you, nerds.
Okay. Okay, I have a theory. Can I tell you my spicy take, as
Sure.
Josh would say? Cisco annoys me for this reason only, because I think that with a lot of firewalling and networking, you can be in the GUI now very easily. And Cisco, I think, because it started in command line only, and they're so snooty about it, they're like, no, we're not gonna move that way. We won't do it.
Well, let's move that concept to Windows, right? How many things can you control via the GUI versus PowerShell? It's more like, yes, the idea is that we want to give you a lot to do, but there are many, many more options in the less user-friendly methodology.
For sure.
It's not that if they could make all of their networking GUI, which they're trying with DNA Center, they would, because people would buy it more. Yeah. But to encapsulate imagine trying to encapsulate everything PowerShell could do in a GUI in a way that anyone can, that is a difficult thing, and I don't envy them for trying to do that. Any networking product.
Yeah, Cisco's great. They led the way for like tons of years.
They literally created protocol.
Paved the way for like what we have today, but they are also kind of gatekeeperish in a way.
In pricing alone, and I think we'll get to this later, but there's another issue I have with Cisco.
Okay, next one. Bogdan, we're in a fight now. Okay, well, HP. I want to hear what you say.
HP is also a B tier, but for the opposite reasons, because it basically does what Cisco. I'm thinking HP, like enterprise gear, and Aruba, I think, is owned by HP, and now technically Juniper, which whatever, but
nothing like a good monopoly.
Nothing like a good monopoly. They pretty much followed Cisco's lead. They almost have the exact same CLI, except for some terminology, but they're usually a little more chill on pricing. Therefore, when you when you average out like the differences there, I would say that they're pretty Cisco's is brought down from S to B on pricing. If pricing is the same equivalency and the functionality, then HP is there for sure.
Okay. We have two Ciscos. I don't know what the difference is.
This one is Cisco certifications.
Oh, okay. Where will we do this one?
I want to preface this with, I have a reason why, and it's, okay, go ahead and place this in S.
Oh.
And I only say this from an education standpoint.
Yeah.
I do not believe anyone needs to get any certifications, but there is no, at least in colleges that I've seen, there is no track for networking. So how do you have a guided education in a very specific topic?
Like a structured curriculum.
Structured curriculum, correct, in a topic these certs like the CCNA are a good way of doing that. Now, again, I'm not saying go take the cert, but the materials that people have made through like platforms like INE or networklessons.com, these places are very, very useful because they have to make material that fits these certifications, right? Now, I go get the certifications because if I wasn't charged $300, thank you, Cisco, for that very expensive pricing, I wouldn't feel the need to learn these things. So I go get them, but that doesn't mean that you have to do that, right?
Okay.
I just think the material is very useful.
Juniper. So we got a speed round. We got running out of time. Juniper.
Oh, running out of time. Perfect. A tier. I like Juniper because I like their CLI. I like the way they operate, and I think their pricing is fair for how powerful it is.
Okay. Mac
D tier. Just Mac.
Enterprise. Yeah, we agree. We agree.
Macs and networks. Enterprise networks. I don't know. I hate it.
Okay. Netgear. Is this for home use or what are we doing?
I'm thinking from an enterprise use. If you asked me to put Netgear on this enterprise, I would say please God, no.
Okay, where do you want to put it?
C.
Gets
C
the
tier,
job
please.
done though, right? Cheap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Palo Alto. Are we talking firewalls here?
We're talking
What are we doing?
in their strictly firewall-based usage.
Okay.
I would put them in an A tier.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like the Cadillac of firewalls, right? They're expensive though.
Yeah, they
Still.
don't do everything else really well. Like it's a firewall. It's a great firewall, and they try to do other things, but I would say if it's just firewall, it's an A tier.
Okay. All the bells and whistles. Okay. SonicWall. What are you going to say here?
SonicWall is if it's easy to understand from what I've heard.
Totally easy.
Then in terms of ease of use, if the pricing works, then I would say it's either a high B or an A tier, and I'll let you pick, Tara.
I think SonicWall is super easy. People give it some hate, but man, I can do it. I'm going to give it a B.
High B.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even know what this is. Oh,
this
throughput.
is throughput
okay.
as
What
a
do you say
metric.
about this?
If you think that because the number is high, if Google says, here, pay $100 and you can have 8 gigabits per second to your home, and you're like, that's a good deal. I think that marketing tactic is a bad thing. You have to the throughput of something is not the end all be all of a line, and so the throughput being a concept of a good quality, I would say is a C tier. It's useful, and it's obviously one metric you can use, but it's not
especially nowadays when you like go to download something and you see this like really high speed and then it just drops.
Right.
You know,
or
you
streaming
get it for
quality,
like 10
right?
seconds.
Yeah.
Okay,
TP-Link, I got to put it in C. I put Netgear in C. They're useful for home labs. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying in an enterprise aspect, I would say no. But now I have to take that all back, and I could say just kidding, because I'm going to put Unify products in S specifically for the same reason as the certification, education. For the same reason you were just saying about Cisco, they make it really annoying because the GUI is supposed to be easy. Unify is trying to do that as much as possible, like providing a method for you to learn networking easily through a nice graphical interface is something they are actively trying to do. Now, if you try to do it through a CLI and it's on the controller, good luck. But so many people I know that would never have touched networking did it because of Unify.
Yeah, and that barrier to entry is low, and sometimes that is what people need to learn a new skill. So that's valuable. Yeah. Okay, let's see what people at home are saying.
With a total of 152 votes, this is how our chat turned out.
0S.
Their site is very ad riddled. You could lose 36 pounds here.
Okay.
But yeah, so nothing in S. Yeah, interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, these it comes down to the person, right? Like obviously I was more like education and availability as an S tier type thing. I can totally understand putting every product in B tier because it's a corporation. Like I don't know, they all kind of do the same thing at the end of the day. But
I'm interested on the Netgear versus TP-Link, B versus D tier.
I think TP-Link's got some bad rep. I think Netgear kind of tries, and they don't have the bad rep from a decade, 2 decades worth of bad rep, however long TP-Link's been around.
Okay, well, you know what, Austin, as always, I'm incredibly impressed by your network prowess. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here as well. And thank you, our beautiful customers that we love, for joining us. For PDQ, I'm Tara.
I'm Brock.
And I'm Austin.
Indeed. Thanks, everybody, for listening and tuning into PDQ Live this Thursday morning. We'll be back every Thursday morning, same time. That's around 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time. Please give our channel a like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. And also join the Discord. Until then, we will catch you next time, everyone.